Hi, my name is Teresa Tarver.
And I am Isaac Tarver.
And this is the Better Together podcast,
where we, with our life
and all of our experiences,
show you why two is definitely better than one. Hey everybody, and welcome to the new Marriage is Better Together podcast with Isaac and
Teresa Tarver.
And many of you are asking right now, why is he saying the new? Well, you guys know, for those who've been following us for a long time or following us since our beginnings, our original name was the Better Together podcast with Isaac and Teresa Tarver. But we decided that we wanted to do some brand updates. We noticed that there are quite a few podcasts that are called the Better Together podcast, or shows on YouTube called Better Together.
Yeah.
But those weren't really with a marriage focus. They kind of just talk about a lot of different things. I've seen some weird stuff. So we decided that we wanted to make sure that our brand was really focused, because this is a marriage conversation podcast. So we changed our name to the Marriage is Better Together podcast. And you can find us on all social media outlets at Marriage is Better Together. So for those of you who have been following us, thank you so much. Welcome to our new YouTube channel. Super excited to actually be doing the whole visual thing. But those who are already following us on social media, you'll see that we've changed our names to Marriage is Better Together. Mm-hmm. And if you are not following us yet on social media platforms, you can go to at Marriage is Better Together on all social media platforms. I'm trying to say podcast. I'm super excited. All social media platforms, and our name will pop up there. Follow us, add us, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, TikTok. We just got a TikTok. So we're super excited about that as well. So follow us on all those platforms.
This is weird.
What's weird about it?
I don't know, like camera right here, talking like, hey y'all. So listen, I'm excited to be here, the whole visual effect. But we used to do this like sitting in our basement with our night clothes on while the kids were asleep. So this is a little new, but I am glad to have this visual effect. Our feedback monitor is right here, so we keep looking to the side. It's just because we still trying to get used to things.
We're just trying to check to make sure we're still in the frame and things are making everything good.
Yes.
So we think things are filling out really well. We're excited because we feel like the visual aspect kind of gives you guys an opportunity to
see us. Y'all only see pictures of us,
and to get a feel for some of the facial expressions, which kind of gives more to the moment versus just listening on the podcasting platforms. We are still releasing all audio to those podcasting platforms, but we want our YouTube channel to go crazy. So make sure you like and subscribe on here so that you can be notified when we release the new updates and the new shows, which they'll be coming weekly. So we're super excited about that.
So this is season 3 of the Marriage is Better Together podcast. And
we're super excited about getting it going. I'm sorry. It's all good. We were just excited about getting it going. For those who are new, we have about 16 episodes available on our podcasting platform. So wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anything of those natures, you can go and just kind of catch up with who we are and our beginnings and things of that nature. But thank you so much for coming and taking a ride with us at this point.
He's just a regular old talker, man. The OGs know he wasn't doing this. I had to say, so babe, what about the housekeeping? You just came with the script today. But listen, that's another aspect of this. The visual, listen, y'all getting it raw and uncut. Well, the other combos was raw and uncut, but this gonna be like non-edited, because we're not going back to edit these videos. Mm-hmm. So what's here, y'all gonna get what y'all get. So
it's gonna be live. It's gonna be in your face. It's gonna be fun, and we're excited about taking this journey with you. So what we got up for today, baby?
So our topic for today is the topic. It says married now what? So what we gonna be talking about? That was your thing.
Okay, yeah. So married now what? The idea, the concept, the thought process around it is, there are people who are in your world, in your life, in your space prior to you getting married. You literally actually have a whole world that exists before you get married. And then, you find your person, you fall in love with your person, you decide that you want to spend the rest of your life with your person. We do rings and things and stand at the altar and I do, and for better or for worse, rich or for poor and all the stuff like that. And then, you may not kiss the bride, have a good reception, and then you start a life that is completely different than the life that you were living. And there's the huge culture shock, right? So Teresa and I have been married 10 years now.
Well, 10 years in August.
Yeah, August will be 10 years.
Yay.
So we've been married for quite a while, and we've had the fun, the opportunity, the journey, the privilege, yes, to experience some of the now what's. Some of the now what's that we're going to kind of throw around in this conversation is not just the now what's for you inside of the marriage, but the now what's for the people who existed before you got married.
So they look like your mom and them, your sister, your BFF, your work bestie. I think that a lot of times we get married and then it's just like, okay, now I have this person to share my life with. And that's true, but that's not the reality, right? It's true and the concept of somebody to share your life with, but really what it is, what your life is at the point that you get married, it changes completely. Everything about your life changes, right? And I think that the mistake that a lot of us make is we think this great merger is going to happen. Like, this person is going to merge into my life and then we're going to mesh. And then, there's a coming together, right? But I think that without realistic expectations, we're expecting this merger or this melting, right, of coming together, but it ends up being a collision. So it still come together, but it is turbulent. You know what I mean? But I think that the truth of that is your life starts over when you get married. What it means to be your best friend's best friend, that's not the thing no more. What it means to be, like, I just know for me, like, the kind of sister that I was. I have a twin sister, hey Jaleesa. Our relationship changed, and this is the closest person to me, shared a womb, has done everything with, okay? What that relationship now is, she's no longer the closest person to me.
Right.
And so being a sister looked different when I married Isaac because the nature of the relationship is different because I changed as a person.
Right. So let's back up just a hair, because and let's start off with the marriage itself.
Okay.
So question number one that we're putting on the table is, how do I assimilate to being a spouse? How do I, shift my thought processes? How do I adjust my life to being a spouse, right? So again, you got this long day. I'm just trying to,
okay, go ahead. No, you good. You can get on your good.
I'm saying good. So if you think about it, you are one person. You've had one set of experiences. You have, you were born and raised. You live in the house with your mama or mama and daddy, siblings, things of that nature. You develop friends, childhood, high school, college, things of that nature. You matriculate through all these processes of life. But then you come to that space where you found your person. Right. Scripturally, the two become one concept, right? And now you are in a space where you're like, okay, cool. With my mama, I'm around my mother for a long time. I'm around my father for a long time. But at some point, they go to their room during the day. My siblings, we hang out, we kick it, we do what we do, or whatever like that. But then we all have different spaces, different lives. We're at all different ages, right? So we all go to different, well, except for her, because they was twins. So either way, you go to a different space at some point, right?
Okay.
Your friends, y'all kick it, y'all love some of the same stuff, y'all have built a relationship based off of camaraderie, but y'all don't live together. Or even if y'all are roommates, at some point, y'all have aspects of y'all life that exist that are totally different. The difference that happens with finding your spouse is your literal, almost every waking moment is, if not with that person, in reference to that person.
Right, or in consideration, because when the two become one, like, you don't have the comforts to be able to just think about yourself.
Right.
So when I'm doing something, I can't just be out here moving on my own. And I think that's another mistake that we make. We out here making the same moves that we was making, before we was married, and then, the spouse is an afterthought. When a better way for it to be would be considering that spouse and the moves that you make, right? It's almost like being pregnant forever. Now, I love being pregnant, but when I'm pregnant, Every thought, what I eat, what I wear, where I go, where I don't go, how long I stay somewhere, how short I stay somewhere.
Yeah.
Everything that I do is based on what's going on with the baby,
Absolutely.
how the baby is feeling, how I'm feeling with this thing that I'm carrying or this thing that's attached to me, and consideration of it, right? Some things are easier, like, okay, going to the mall, I might not be able to go to the mall for 5 hours and walk around because I'm pregnant.
Right.
But the same thing when I have a spouse, if he want me to be at home or we supposed to be doing something, I can't go kick it in the mall for 8 hours with my sister like I was before I got married. You know what I mean?
And the thing about that is, like she kind of just mentioned, these are a lot of things that happen when you become a spouse are things that you've done or were doing before you were a spouse. So it's almost like now I'm forced to change my perspective of what I, have been doing, or change the almost the reasoning behind what I do, right? So I have a career that existed prior to, what I'm saying, my spouse, right? So I've been leading worship. I was leading worship before Teresa and I became a thing, right? I was leading worship before Teresa and I, got married. But when I got married, I couldn't just lead worship, and go to whatever space that I wanted to go to, or, I'm gonna just go over here and hang out at this church and just go play here or go sing here. I had to position and posture that, that career path for my life now in consideration of, if I go here, does it best serve the things that Teresa and I are trying to accomplish?
Yes.
If I go to this church, right, and they're only saying, hey, we only offer, $150 or whatever it may be, does that feed both Teresa and me, right? Obviously doesn't. Or whatever the concept is. So I have to take something that I've been doing prior to living in this world and turn the focus of it or the consideration of it in the direction of our marriage now.
Yeah, and it's everything, like careers, I'll say, even for me, because when I met Isaac, I was doing event planning and hair. Like, so my events, I was doing events on a corporate level. And some of those galas and events would not start until like late, 10 o'clock. After party starting at 2 a.m. It's like, so if I'm taking a certain job, is my husband gonna be okay with that? Does that serve my marriage? If he out, until 2 o'clock in the morning, then maybe okay. If he had a midnight musical or something, you know what I'm saying, then I can do that. But if it is not, again, like Isaac said, the marriage being the focal consideration for all decisions made. Now, we understand in some people's situation, you cannot just make drastic change to say, well, I was working nights and now that I'm married, it don't work. But you might want to think about that before you get married, because if your wife work days and you work nights, when are y'all going to work on y'all marriage? Yeah. When are y'all going to be able to work and cultivate the relationship and give it the proper time and attention that it needs to grow?
There's even smaller, more minute concepts that, even have to be considered. Career paths are almost a little, lifelong, considerations and things of that nature. But even if you look at something as small as who you talk to on the phone and what time you talk on the phone.
Yes.
Right? So you used to your bestie hitting you or whatever like that. 10 o'clock, girl, this happened or whatever like that.
Okay.
She calling you, talk about her guy or whatever maybe may be. Or your guys, he like, hey bro, we on Mac and jump on live right quick or whatever. And it's like, once you become a spouse, I can't get on at 10 o'clock no more.
No, because you need to be in the bed.
I can't sit up and have that conversation at 10 o'clock.
It's how to do marital things at 10 o'clock.
But
that's something that we dealt with for real, because I would stay on the phone all day with my mom and my sister, 24 hours. If I'm not on the phone with my mama, I'm on the phone with my sister. If I'm not on the phone with my sister, I'm on the phone with my mama. And I mean like 12 o'clock, girl, look at this, all night. And it's like, I had to create a boundary there, because it's like I'm laying in the bed with my husband, right? And we about to get on that. And my sister called and it's like, answer the phone at 1:30 in the morning when we supposed to be doing married things.
Right.
And it wasn't like everyday thing, but it was something to take in consideration. It would have been bogus for me to say, well, I've been talking to my sister at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's like, but you a wife now. So
absolutely.
That if that's something that don't work for it. Now, if it does work for the marriage, if Isaac sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning and it doesn't bother him, then fine. Again, everything is case specific, but we do think that there are things generally just to take into consideration, that if these things are considered or thought about, that it can be avoid conflict.
And now that's the reason why we use the word in consideration of, because some of these things, really the best way to answer the question of how do I assimilate is just to be considerate. You know, let's have a conversation about some of the things that I've been doing, things that existed in my world prior to, and find out how do they work, and or if they work at all in the confines of this relationship.
Right.
Like, is it okay, for me to still go and play at R&B clubs if I'm marrying a minister? Is it okay for me to still, again, like my wife said, take a night job, and when my spouse works a day job, where do we find our time to come together, or whatever it may be? Like, just sitting down, having conversations, because it could be in your marriage, that concept could look like, hey, we're both building right now. We'll set up a couple of hours in our little passing time to meet each other, or whatever it may be. We're trying to, build for whatever financial plans we have, and
right,
then,
for the future.
Yeah.
People have different goals, so if that's y'all goal, then that's cool.
And that works.
Yeah.
It's really what works. It's really what works inside of the marriage. But having that consideration piece, having the opportunity to sit down and not hold firm literally to any of the things that existed before, but to come together and say, hey, I'm willing to put all of my life on the table to figure out how we can recreate a life together.
Right. And I think another thing, because you're saying, consideration. I think for me, there was a point where I felt like he should know this. Like, of course, I'm ready to go to sleep. It's time for us to lay down and go to sleep. It's 11 o'clock at night, and Isaac is up writing songs, right? Yeah. So this is real life. So I'm getting ready for bed. I done put on that nightie. Got what did I wear then? I used to wear Moonlight Path.
Yeah,
from Bath and Body Works.
You talking about scents? I don't know what you was talking about.
No, yeah, scents. So when you smell that Moonlight Path, when you smell that Moonlight Path, it's go time. You know what I'm saying? We're about to go to bed. We're new married, and Isaac is up at 11 o'clock. 11:30, 12 o'clock, into 2 a.m. and I'm in the bed seething like, this man, no, he talks to me in the bed by now. Right. But that's what he was used to doing, right? So in a way that he could have been considerate, I could have also voiced my opinion or voiced the way that I felt, but I felt like, well, we married, he's supposed to know this,
Absolutely.
And I think that if we are able to communicate, because communication is one of those other things. What can I do to assimilate? What was the question?
Yeah, what can I do to
assimilate to being a spouse? Communicate. Over communicate.
Very important.
Communicate. Because I could have saved myself some anguish if at 11:15 would have tapped me to God. I know that you're writing your song, you're having time with the Lord, with your wife is requesting your presence.
Or at 9 o'clock or whatever like that. Just saying ahead of time, hey, I'm this the vibe for the night. All right, cool. And then for me, it would have been like, okay, cool. Once the ideal, whatever it may be, was like, oh man, I got this little idea. I want to write this song. Like, okay, cool. That ain't worth it tonight, because I'm finna go and write this song, if you will.
Amen.
So all things considered, a lot of the stuff that's a lot of the areas where we kind of butt heads and things of that nature, have struggles with some of our assimilations, really just because of what we're not talking about. So
true.
Let's go to question number 2. Question number 2 is, how should my friends support me as a spouse? That's super good.
Even in 10 years of marriage, assimilation is still happening, because I know what I was saying, newly married, I use my experiences from when we first got married, but because your life changes, your spouse change, you change, it looks different in different seasons, if you will, what it means for me to be Isaac's wife, right? So some seasons I'm right there, I'm the best sister, best daughter, I'm at everything, I'm available, I have increased capacity to deal with other people's issues and problems and all of that. But my husband is a recording artist, so during recording season, I don't have none of that. I can't barely answer the phone during recording season, okay? During recording season, I have to, most of my capacity is filled with administrative duties and making sure that my man of God is good and ready and to release the sound, okay? So it changes for me. So what it looks like for my family and my friends to support me as Isaac's wife, or to support our marriage in different seasons, it looks different. So I'm just saying that to say that it's on a continuum. Things change. There is a spectrum of what it can look like at one point versus another point.
Yeah, I would say just from friends in general, this may be kind of hard to swallow, because I know for a lot of people it's like, this been my friend, or this my childhood friend. This is my friend who I grew up with. We road dogs. We this, that, and the third. Like, you almost have to rebuild your friendship, because everything that is meant, like the person who you were friends with before they got married, almost don't exist no more.
In a sense, yes.
In a sense, the concepts that worked for you guys when you were friends prior to them getting married, they may not fit.
Yeah.
They may not fit.
Give an example.
You're considering somebody who is giving, literally giving their whole world, or adjusting their whole world to fit in the lifestyle of, the person who they love. And that may almost X you out for a season, For example, my cousin and my best friend, Josh and Chris, right? So these are people who I, kick it with all the time. We saw each other probably weekly, like all the time, kick it, talk on the phone, this, that, and the third. When I got married, like they were there. You see any of our marriage pictures, I'm gonna put a picture right here. If you saw any of our marriage pictures, they were there. Like we did a whole lot. We had a good time or whatever. And when I got married, for almost like a month or so, there was literally no communication, right?
I mean, y'all still love each other.
That's what I'm saying. None of that stuff changed, but I was really focused. They could have easily said, "Oh man, this boy is a horrible friend. Like he hates us or whatever like that. It's her fault now. Ever since she came here, and he don't think about us, or he don't care about us." But the truth is, the way that a friend is supportive is sometimes just giving space. Mm-hmm. Like, give space for your friend to find their new life and to tell you how, your friendship fits.
Yes, because it is just like you, as a person who got married, you stepped into this new role. Now their friendship is taking on a new role, because what you needed from them as friends as an unmarried man is a different need for you. Mm-hmm. I just realized we got this ring light right here and don't have the light on
because it's well lit here. It will wash us at this point. Yeah, the lights is pretty good.
So you need different things from them as friends at this point. So it's like, I think that a good way to support your friends is to have conversations, again, communicate, and kind of give your friend permission to grow and to change without all the extra, because we hear that so much with relationship. You change and
you becoming a different person.
And it's like, you're supposed to change. You're supposed to become a different person when you get married.
Changing.
Like, that's the expectation. But the sad thing is, it's not the expectation. People think, oh, he just got a lifetime girl. No, this man is changing. This woman is changing into a different person that they're trying to get to know and get used to and get comfortable and familiar with. Yeah. So it's like, as a friend, be supportive, communicate, don't take things personally.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Find your space in friendship with the spouse.
Absolutely.
Find your space. Like, what common ground exists between you and their now spouse?
Right.
Because oftentimes, like, a lot of friends, like we've seen, like people's friends, like take the whole "you still my friend" stance. So now they have this issue with the spouse, and it's like, you took my friend away from me. It's different because it's like,
that's weird, y'all.
Y'all gotta cut that out. Y'all gotta stop that.
Let me hear me. That's weird.
It's lame.
Stop doing it.
It's lame.
You get into the next point.
No. You gotta stop. It's gotta be looked at. It's gotta be considered. Like, you can't just be like, that's my friend. You taking my friend away from me. I want my friend back type thing. Because then that makes you divisive in the marriage. That makes you somebody who is like, trying to throw the whole concept of the marriage out, when as a friend, if I'm really a friend, if I am honestly a friend, I have to say that I'm willing to love what you love. Like, this is not, you want to go get a dog. I don't like dogs. You keep your dog over there. this is not that.
Yeah.
This is somebody who you're spending the rest of your life
Who you
with,
have become one with.
who you become one with, like you spend your waking moment with. And if I'm a friend, I have to now, and now this is the honest thing, I have to now say, I'm going to be willing to love, support, consider the both of you, or maybe I should, or maybe if it's not worth that, maybe I'm not the friend for this marriage.
Right. I'm gonna jump down to this point. A friend to one is not a friend to the marriage.
No.
Like if somebody only is friends with Isaac or only is willing to love and accept and embrace Isaac, that is not conducive for our marriage.
No.
Like I think that that's a mistake that people make by allowing people to continue on in their lives after they become spouse. Stay in relationship with people who do not like your spouse, who do not vibe with your spouse.
I ain't never liked them from the beginning.
That's so weird.
Gee, y'all gotta chill that. Y'all gotta kill all of that. Like all that's whack. Like if your goal is not to come alongside this union and support it, if whatever it is, you know, if you need them to yourself, you should have married them. I'm sorry.
That part. And if you can't, like, that speaks to something
like,
being wrong, y'all.
There's something else
people
there,
taking
y'all.
ownership of people that are not theirs. Like, this man and woman have left and cleaved to each other, and you sit on his own something like, that was my friend.
My friend
like,
has.
You don't take precedence over spouse, friends, family. Let's get
First
to
of all,
it.
if you say it like that was my friend, you get a
that was my best friend. Like, stop. And then especially with let me say something. All y'all out here with that was my brother, that was my sis. Stop that weird stuff out, y'all.
Y'all go back.
These men and women that went and found the people who they wanted to be with, and it wasn't you.
Y'all go
so
back
let
and
that
listen to
go.
Listen to our episode called Brown Sugar.
Yes.
It's about these guys, these brother-sister relationships is not legit. There's something going on that somebody want to be.
Isaac was my bro, okay?
And then now we
married.
Absolutely.
Can you look up?
So the thing is, like, if you're not willing to say, I'm the type of friend that's going to make the sacrifices to allow this marriage to grow, to develop, and be supportive of it, then maybe you should probably reconsider your space around the marriage. Mm-hmm. Maybe you should reconsider whether, you know, this person is really your friend, or whether you really want to be a friend to this person in their new world, because they're absolutely not going to be actively pursuing being a spouse and remain the same person that they were before they got married.
And you spouses, like, don't wait for people to X themselves out. Do inventory.
Have real conversations.
Is it people in your life that don't support your spouse, that don't like your spouse, that don't vibe with your spouse, that don't, you know, whatever it is. If there's any diss or any not liking or any, you know, y'all know what I'm talking about. That push away, like, well, I like her. I don't really like her husband. Y'all don't need them kind of people around y'all. That's toxic for your marriage.
Definitely got to watch them friends who try to remind you of your exes.
That part. Ooh.
That ain't your friend, first of all. Secondly, you got to watch them type of people, because all their goal is to pull you farther away so that they can get closer. And when somebody is like that, they like you. They want to touch you in other areas they shouldn't.
Or not even like sexually. Shut up. Not even like sexually all the time. Some people really don't understand like inordinate relationships. Like the relationship between a husband and wife is the closest relationship, right? This even comes into our next point, which really was our second point, but I kind of skipped ahead to the third point. Like family. Your mama don't come before your wife. Your daddy don't come before your husband.
Just so I can put it down in the drop down right here. The third question is, how should my family support me?
Mm-hmm. That's the third question.
Right?
Okay.
But, go ahead, baby.
Yeah. What was I talking about?
Your family supporting you. Your mama. Your grease grandmammy.
I was up to play basketball. Okay, so back to the point. Your family can support you in your marriage. That was it. By allowing you, just like the friends, allowing you the space to change, being okay with the whole leave and cleave concept, like the fact that this...
Let's back up before we even go there.
Okay.
Your family should support you and show their support during the marital season, like the wedding season is what I'm actually looking for. One of the best way that the family can show support, we'll get to the being a spouse. But we got to back up because
back it up.
Families showing themselves supportive during the engagement onto the wedding is really the alley-oop that makes the actual marriage season work out. You know, husbands
that's where
and
a lot
wives.
of families have dissensions, right?
That's where
when the marriage season goes
happening.
bad, it's like, I don't like your sisters, I don't like your family, you know, all of that starts, you right, with the engagement. People looking crazy like, oh, okay, he got that little ring. Or, you know, like, I would have did it. Like, y'all, keep y'all opinions to yourself. These people is happy, let these people be. And if they not happy, you do not get to make the choice. You are not in the driver's seat, in the decision seat. At the point that this young lady says yes to this young man, your job becomes to support.
It's not your job to convince them that this ain't who they should be with. It's not your job to, unless you know this person is a criminal or something, you know.
Right, and we're not talking about in non-dangerous.
No, we're not talking about in that. We're talking about in situations where it's like these two love each other, they're both safe for each other, you just feel away. It's not your job to make them, you know, to bring to their attention, I feel like you acting different, or it's not your job.
Y'all should have said when they was dating.
Absolutely. It's not your job to bring to their attention, I feel like y'all not doing this right, or I feel like y'all are moving too fast, or whatever it may be. You have to allow this man and this woman, as long as they're both grown and they're both of legal age and they're of deciding age, you have you have to allow them the opportunity to actually go through this process. And if you're really going to say, I am a good family member to them, you got to be supportive.
Yes. Now, I will, this is from real life experience. I'm not putting people's business out there. But I have been in that situation where somebody that I love very much was about to marry somebody that I did not want them to marry. My stance was, I cannot support what y'all doing, and I distanced myself. And my distance from that situation spoke to the person I love very much, and it caused them ultimately, you know, to reconsider some of the decisions that they were making in that whole season, right? So we're not saying that, you know, if you see somebody on the highway to hell with, you know, Satan himself, don't speak up.
Or in danger, like they're going to put them there, or they're, you know, they're love struck and they're going to end up, you know, in a situation where, you know, this person is a cheater or something like that.
Right.
We're not saying that. We're saying we know that these are two good people and you just have these little feelings.
Right. For fear of, I'm going to lose my son, I'm going to lose my daughter, that type stuff. That's what we're talking about. Let's back it up and clear it up. If your reservations about these people getting married is losing space in their life, that's lame, y'all. Don't do that to your sister, your brother, your son, your daughter, your goddaughter, none of that. Don't do it to none of them. If you're discouraging them from getting married because you worried about things changing too much in your own personal relationship with them, that's not cool.
This be my thing though. People be having all the issues and stuff like that. I don't. And then when the preachers say if anybody had just cause, everybody be quiet.
I don't get it. Because if I had, listen.
It's really something, if it's really a thing, it's something that's like, this person is just not good for you, then say it at the just cause moment.
Or listen, say like,
but
this my thing, babe. People be together for like 3 years. Then they get engaged. And it's like, everybody got a problem. Y'all sat there and watched the people be together for 36 months and then say nothing. So shut up. Just shut up. Don't say nothing now. It's too late. If they get married and it goes to hell in the handbasket, that's on them. But you should have said something before you sat there and watched. But you know, a lot of people have their own little reasonings for letting stuff go on. But that's not what we're talking about today. We talking about how can you support your family member, you know, and being a spouse, how the family can support. The family can support by supporting the decision that this young man and this young lady made, right? To be in spouse, to be husband and wife. Because once a decision is made, then it's a decision that's made. And at that point, God is honoring it.
Absolutely.
So if God honor it and you not, then come on, y'all.
Yeah. You got to help make them comfortable. Help make the season of becoming a spouse as easy as possible on your side.
Right.
You know, as easy as possible for them. You know, help, you know, move some stuff out the way. Help out. You know, if it's financial, help out. So
don't be weird too, because you know something that reminds me of when people get pregnant. Sometimes, you know, out of wedlock, young, teenage, whatever, right? At this point, the baby here. That's like being in the delivery room saying, you know, you shouldn't have had this baby. I'm in labor. The baby is talking about what I should do. I done did the do to get the baby here. Baby crowning. And you telling me, well, you know, you shouldn't have. It's happened. These people that chose each other, they done did the ceremony, everything. Husband, wife, kiss the bride. Shut up and support. If you can't do that, then remove yourself.
Then don't be there. But don't be the frustration.
Right.
Don't come to the wedding and be in all the pictures mad.
Please.
Don't come to the wedding. I'm not supporting this. Don't give if you cannot support. Get out the way.
Don't go over them folks' house after they get married, mamas, and treat your son wife funny.
Don't do that.
Daddies, don't go over to your daughter's house and be looking upside her husband's head.
Don't do that. Don't go, mamas, don't go over your son's house trying to cook him meals that you know his wife can't cook. Pass the recipe over.
Pass the recipe.
Pass the recipe. Stop acting crazy. Fathers, don't try to show up and change her tire every time something going on. Yeah. Cut that mess out.
Help your son-in-law.
Absolutely. If your son-in-law, if your daughter done married a guy who can't change a tire, shame on her, but that ain't your job. You pull him to the side and you say, hey son, my daughter don't know how to change no tire, so let me show you how to change a tire. Or you encourage them to go and get AAA. Y'all keep AAA, but you can't be the one that shows up as her father and keeps rescuing her every time, because it points to division in the marriage. Because now she's looking at her daddy as her savior, and it's an area in her life where she cannot cling to the security of her husband.
Right. So y'all, don't be a hindrance to people who have made the choice to come together. This is a decision that they have made. Support it. And if you cannot support it, because I get it, sometimes you can't. It's just like, this is too much. This never should happen in your opinion, whatever. If you cannot support the union, then remove yourself. So that's what you can do as family and friends to support people in your life who have gotten married, who are married, who've been married for 10 years. Yeah. Listen, because in different spaces, it changes. Like,
support is going to be needed throughout the marriage, period. There's going to be support needed. There's going to be space needed. You know, there's going to be, you know, times where we do need you to be closer than what you are on the other side. You got to be, if you're going to say, you know, again, I'm a friend, I'm a family, I'm a spouse, I'm a lover of this marriage or whatever it may be, a supporter of this marriage, you got to just be ready to be called upon. You got to be ready for your moment to get in there and to, you know, get down and, hey, marriage has some trench seasons. Marriage has some seasons where there's more work that needs to be put in than other seasons. And in those moments, you know, you're going to get called on. Somebody's going to say, hey, you know, I need a moment. Hey, I need you to take me to X, Y, and Z. Be that person.
Support.
Be ready for that.
Help.
Yeah.
Support and help. That's how you can help it make it easier for people who are entering the marriage season or who've been married for a long time. And
one of the major ways that everybody can be supportive is just pray. Just pray.
That's good. Pray.
You know, I think prayer helps, because even in those things
P-R-A-Y.
Yes.
Not P-R-E-Y.
Yes. Pray to God. Talk to God about them. And that helps.
The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
Yeah. Don't get out here putting people's names on their jaws and all this stuff like that.
Don't chant for me. Don't talk to the ancestors for me.
None of that. Don't send no energies or none of that. You know, if you want to send something, send some money.
Cash out.
Okay.
Zelle.
But talking to God will, you know, help relieve you of some of the worries, because God is there with them even when you're not. Those areas, those things that you are concerned with, you give them to Jesus. Let Jesus handle them. You know, he'll be the one to protect, but you should be praying for the success of that marriage. If you are going to say that you're a friend or a family, or if you're a spouse, it is your job daily to get on your knees about your spouse, about your significant other. Get on your knees before God and before them, and, you know, just go forward.
So the last question. Is it okay for your spouse to befriend or be friends with someone who does not like your spouse?
No.
Or serve your marriage?
No, absolutely not.
We talked about it a little bit.
Yeah, we did.
No.
If the relationship does not work on both sides, if this is somebody who, you know, cannot say that they are a supporter of both parties, then I don't think the you know, relationship is really going to be one that's going to be strong, significant, you know, throughout. I don't think it's gonna be a lasting relationship because it won't be helpful. Throughout each season, that person will keep saying, yeah, your spouse crazy. I always said. Well, stop saying.
Right. And then the first sign of trouble is turmoil.
Yep.
That person who already didn't like your spouse when things was going good, let turbulence hit your life.
Absolutely.
They're going to be there discouraging your bond with your spouse and encouraging dissension, encouraging separation, encouraging negative things.
All that they usually tend to do is try to remind you of who you were before.
And that causes discontentment.
It does.
Like, it's just not good. It's not a good space. It don't put you in a good headspace. And then ultimately, you want to think down to the spirit of a thing. Like, does this person have good intents towards your spouse? Because if they don't, and this is somebody who you've joined yourself together with, if you think about it, it's impossible for somebody to love you and hate your spouse. To like you and not like your spouse. If the two have become one and you don't like the one that I've become one with, how can you love me? How can you like me? The reality, the truth is you cannot. So it is 100% not okay to be, I think, in relationship with people, because it's just like, cut it off. Because if it does not serve the marriage, then it don't serve you.
It don't. So, y'all make sure to support all of the marriages that you're connected to, you're around, that you say you love. Those who are in their engagement season, moving towards marriage, try to be as supportive as you possibly can. Pray for them. Honest words are necessary and things of that nature, as long as they are to bless. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy running around trying to curse folk and trying to, mess up folks' marriage or keep their eyes on their past and things of that nature. Support. Be there for them. So, and for those of you who you're on your way to, your spousal season, we are absolutely praying for you. We, are praying the success of your marriage, and surround yourself with people who will be that level of supportive. If you are, in need of prayer, or, are looking for, looking for somebody to talk to, or whatever it may be, you can email us at thebettertogetherpodcast@gmail.com. I'm not going to change the email.
Yes.
Email is fine.
Because we have some emails, y'all. Listen, we are gonna read these emails on screen. We have not forgotten about y'all. We're gonna get to your questions. We're gonna read them on screen. We're gonna answer them on screen. So y'all be looking out for your email questions to be answered. If you have a question about marriage, relationships, personal questions, we answers it all. Okay.
Feel free to email us.
And what's the email?
thebettertogetherpodcast@gmail.com. Feel free to email us. Again, we'll address those. If you want those to remain confidential, you don't, want those read or whatever, we'll keep them confidential. We'll find a way to kind of flip it up so that we can
so just let us know. We're not going to use names, no way, but like if you want,
definitely won't use any names, but if there's a prayer request or anything of that nature, or just a topic that you want to hear discussed by us, make sure to send it to that email. Again, housekeeping things. Follow us on all social media platforms at Marriage Is Better Together. Okay, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Follow us.
We got a Twitter?
Yeah, we got a Twitter account.
What? Did you change it?
I don't know if I changed it. It'll be changed by the time they get it.
When this get released,
Marriage Is Better Together.
Okay.
Go and look for us on all of those accounts. Follow us, like and subscribe here on our new YouTube channel. We're super excited about growing with you and you guys being able to put faces with these absolutely amazing voices. So, baby,
singing voice. I don't know if my talking voice is all
my talking voice is sexy. I'm that guy.
I feel like my talking voice kind of ratty sometimes.
You know what I mean? It's cool. No, you just be acting up. So I'm cool with it. I enjoy it, baby. I just love hearing you talk. It's me. So,
baby, why do you love me?
I love you because we are full speed ahead towards 10 years of marriage, and I am just looking forward to and excited about the next 10 and the 10 after that and the 10 after that and the 10 after that and the 10 after that. So that's why I love you, baby. Why do you love me?
I love you because this actually happened. We supposed to have been did this.
Yes, very
so
true.
I'm very happy. And it just adds to one of the many reasons that I already love you. So I love you for making this happen. Happy to see y'all. Oh, we can't see y'all, but y'all can see us.
So this has been the Marriage is Better Together podcast, where we, with our life
and all of our experiences,
show you why two is definitely better than one. Y'all be safe.